Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Scotty P here with another message from Scotty P Inspo. And so today, I want to talk about that feeling of being lost in your life. And I don't mean from a navigational standpoint, but I mean you just don't know where to go, don't know where to turn, don't exactly know what you want to do with your life. I want to address that today and how we can move through it and see what is causing that feeling too. All right, so let's go, baby. We're going to get right into this. When we hear lost, many times when people use this term, they're not talking about the TV show. Although an absolute classic, and you should watch it if you haven't already. Anyways, we'll rewind and get out of that. Come on, back on focus here. People will say, I feel lost in my life, as if lost is an adjective to describe their life at that current moment. But I think about it as if it's a little bit deeper here. And I think when we say we feel lost, it's really an adjective to describe those inner feelings of stagnation, frustration, and sadness about where we are currently in our lives. Because the fact of the matter is that everybody's got a reason to feel sad. Everyone's got a reason that they feel like they're stagnant, that they're not further along where they should be, or where their parents told them they should be, or where their friends are. All these things together form this feeling of quote unquote lost. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper here. So let's say the umbrella is this feeling of lost, okay? That's this overall umbrella. Now underneath it, we've got stagnation, we've got sadness, we've got frustration. So what we need to do is we need to break this down and we need to address, okay, why is it that I'm feeling stagnant right now in my life? And we start addressing that. Or then maybe we're addressing, okay, why is it that I'm feeling sad right now in my life? And we're looking into these emotions and feelings about us. And when we do this individually, we're gonna be able to start to get some answers as to why we're feeling that way so that we can better make adjustments and changes to get out of that feeling. But you see, what we do here is we group that stagnation, that sadness, that frustration all together. It becomes something greater, which is this feeling of lost. And when we start telling ourselves we're lost, we start saying, well, okay, well, I guess I'll never be found then. I guess I don't amount to anything. I guess I'll never be anything. And that's simply not true. And that's why it's important for us to dive into each individual emotion, identify it, pinpoint, and start working on how we can overcome that feeling, so that it doesn't become something greater, that overarching umbrella. Really, it's like this. We want to find the antidote for each individual feeling that we're having. So maybe we start with finding antidote for one, then another, and another. And we do this after we've allowed ourselves to feel. Because as I always say, we have to feel these things first. Then once we've allowed ourselves to feel it, then we work on finding that antidote. And then by doing this, we're cutting it off. We're not allowing those feelings to morph into this one giant, all-consuming feeling of lost or worthlessness, but rather we're cutting it off at the source and saying, okay, I'm feeling stagnant right now, but what can I do to move past it? And an example of that might be as follows. So if you're feeling stagnant in your life, the solution, the antidote, so to speak, would be, okay, let me find one area in my life where I could start to see progression today. Maybe that's starting a new Netflix series. Maybe it's starting a new book. Maybe it's starting a new workout routine. I don't care what it is, but find one little thing throughout your day that you can start to track and keep progress of yourself. And by doing this, it's kind of like you're tricking your mind. Because even if you're not progressing in the areas that you want, and overall you're still kind of stuck in your life, you're still focusing and seeing progression in a couple small areas. And when we start to focus on that, we're not going to be focusing on the fact that we're stagnant as much. So to wrap this up, this is what I really want you to take away from this video. The next time that you say to yourself, I feel so worthless, or I feel so lost in my life, stop it right there. Stop that thought right in its tracks and look underneath that umbrella and identify those other emotions that are there and start to pinpoint those emotions and work on finding solutions and antidotes, as I said before, to overcoming those feelings. Because at the end of the day, our mind, it's a tricky little sucker up here. And if we start telling ourselves over and over and over again the same thing, that we're lost, eventually we're gonna start to believe it, because we're all creatures of habit. So it's important for us to make sure that we don't get to that point. And how we don't get to that point is that we identify those emotions at their base source and work on overcoming them there. So I want to thank you all so much for checking us out today. Scotty P Inspiration here. Check out my website, www.scottypinspiration.com. Check out my new podcast, the Lens of Hope podcast. Check me out on social media, wherever it is. Thank you all. Hope you can take something good from this. See y'all later. Have a good one.